get older every year, and every year I seem to have more energy. So I can't figure out that part. But I think it's just the whole vegan thing. It's just you're happy, you have a purpose. So I think it's spiritually good. When you're spiritually better, you have more energy too.
And we always say if you eat living foods, right, you get the energy and you have more energy. That's right.
So let's define living foods. So living foods as in
fermented
plants,
or also just plants who
fresh. But not living foods that are running around on four legs.
I mean, they're mostly dead.
They're mostly
right.
dead.
That's what I meant. Like if you don't eat dead animals, right? Who they're dead,
yes.
right? And
we don't have death flowing through our veins.
Exactly. Then we have the feeling if you think about it, right? How that spiritual is also like as an energy source, right? I think that's where the energy comes from, because it's just not that piece of other species.
I would love to go a little bit also in your farm sanctuary, what you have as well, and what were, before we dive into that, what was one of the worst things that you have seen in factories, and maybe some people are not aware of and you think they should know? So
one of the things that made me the saddest was that in the dairy industry, they separate the calves from the moms upon birth. And I live in farmland, I live in agricultural lands, so I'm surrounded by dairy farms, and I have seen with my very eyes, up close, these little igloos where these calves live that were taken away from the mothers. And you look into their hollow eyes and they look so frightened and scared, and it just breaks my heart. Can you imagine if you had a baby and someone just came along and whisked your baby away so they could pump your milk? And that's really what happens. It's a very, very cruel industry, and that's just one of the things that I think people need to know about. It happens behind the scenes. It's not exposed, and there's even more cruelty than that. But that's a starting point. Sometimes the mothers bellow. I mean, I have cows, so I know how vocal they can be. When they're unhappy, they call out. I mean, they'll even call for you. Like we have a cow named Angel, and she'll stand at the fence line calling for me until I come over and pet her. And I have to stroke her under her neck, and she closes her eyes.
That's amazing.
And she's just so demanding. She's a total diva. But imagine, they express their feelings. And people don't realize that. They just think they're pieces of meat on four legs. The fact is, animals express their feelings. When they're separated from each other, they cry. We rescued a goat and her baby, her kid. And there have been times when accidentally, they get separated and the baby is crying like crazy looking for the mom. And in nature, they would be with their moms for longer. I mean, the baby used to sleep with her head on her mom's lap or her body until, she was, a couple years old. And instead, they're separated, whether it's the cow dairy industry or the goat dairy industry, all babies are separated from their moms. And it's just really, really sad.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that the males are disposed of either so one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the veal industry exists because of the dairy industry. Male cows don't give milk, and so what do you do with male calves except to create an industry called veal around them? And that's a very cruel industry. A lot of people are against veal, but if you're against veal, then you need to stop drinking milk, because veal is only possible if the dairy industry exists.
Yeah.
And all happens behind closed doors, right?
That's right.
What are some things for people to find out more information about it? What are your go-to news sources?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's so much. There's plant-based news. There's Live Kindly, One Green Planet. Mercy for Animals, Free from Harm, PETA. I mean, there's so many organizations that are highlighting many of these issues. And luckily, a lot of these online platforms are now also beginning to highlight the solutions, which are companies such as ours, highlighting how you can lead a more compassionate lifestyle. But I really, really do, I yearn for a world that's based on compassion and love. And we can't solve any problems in the world. I mean, I guess we can talk about sustainability. We can talk about environmental, we can talk about how we only have 11 years left to live on this planet if we don't start reversing climate change. The climate change discussion is really, really important, but it all goes back to love and compassion. We have to become human beings that operate from a place of love, that care about other living beings. When we do that, we'll actually save the planet, because the lives of other species are endangered right now because of human activity. If we actually started caring for them, we would automatically start caring for the environment and become stewards of the planet.
Yeah, and so many people don't know the animal agriculture is the biggest polluter in the world. People still talk about flying less, right? Turning off the lights at night, or
no, that makes almost no impact whatsoever.
Turning off the water while brushing
That's
your
right.
teeth and stuff. Well, stop eating animal products.
Well, the United Nations has said that. So many scientists have said that, but governments will not push it.
Exactly.
Because it's not politically sexy. But the fact of the matter is, if we all just stopped eating meat today, we stopped consuming dairy products, we could reverse climate change.
Yeah.